So, welcome back to Live with Data. When I saw you last, I was in Vienna, and today I'm in Oslo. We're in the IMAX theatre, and we're just getting ready for the keynote. So, in just, I think, about 5-10 minutes, we are going to hear what they have in store for us.
Between humans as well as AI agents, so that you can empower your AI agents to start making better recommendations and be more accurate about it. Passenger, etc. So, for example, airports have situations where, for example, it must be happening in Norway. Runway has a lot of ice. Runways need to be de-iced. Planes.
You get to take action. You get to take action, and that's exactly what we're going to do right now.
Hello, so it is mid-morning at FabFeb. I have just been to the keynote this morning, and in my first session of the day, I chose to go to a Purview session. Purview is one of those things that, for me, often comes up when people are asking about custom reporting, which was really the focus of this session. There are some out-of-the-box capabilities with Purview, but often people want to be able to customize it. And this session focused on a number of ways that you can get your data out of Purview and into whichever custom solution you want to choose. The session talked a little bit about fabric data agents as a choice, which I think is great for data teams themselves who want to be able to sit and get into the experience of chatting. But I think for a lot of business users, they don't want to chat with data quality. They just want it to be presented to them. And so, there is often this ask on how do we put together a custom reporting solution that business users can just immediately see the state of their data and in a way that it affects them. So, something I think that we still need to do a bit of work on. My next session will be a great one. So, Benedict Jaeger, and we're going to cover permission boundaries in Fabric. So, something that I have to talk about a lot when designing workspaces and the way we want users to engage with the platform. So, but also snacks. That is a key theme of Fabric February. When you go to a cinema and you get a pick and mix, you need a mortgage. Not at Fabric February. So it's lunchtime at Fabric February. I've just been to a really great session with Benedict Jaeger on fabric permission boundaries. I think that it was very quotable. There's loads of notes I was writing down to share with the team that will probably slip their way into the blog. I think, one of the highlights is just the principle of when you sit down to design a fabric architecture, your workspaces, your permissions, everyone's looking for this pattern. Everyone wants there to be like this is how you do it. I think Microsoft are probably almost tired of being asked what's the right workspace structure, because there isn't one. And we've been seeing this in the Power BI space for years. There is no one way to define your workspaces and your access patterns. It entirely depends on who you're building it for and what they're going to do with it. The key principle, start at the end. If you try and say, we're going to do all these lake houses, we're going to use Fabric IQ, fine, that's cool and fun in the blog, but start with the end point. What are you actually doing for people? It's the report that's really paying the bills here. It's the data agent that's paying the bills. Why are people engaging with the platform? How are they going to consume it? Everything else, you just work your way back. That's very much a key principle of ours. I would say the way we operate at Deframe is, what's the point? Who's this for? And we'll trace our way back. There is no point designing really complex architectures that you almost roll out by default without ever questioning how it impacts the people at the end. A lot of focus on item permissions, which I think I've always said is something that gets slept on, even in a Power BI context, but especially as we're going into a Fabric context. People are overly reliant on workspace roles and assume that workspace structures have to entirely revolve around the viewer and the builder permissions that you're going to give people, whether that be contributor or member or so on. But most assets, I would say, item level approach, for our lake houses, for certain elements like that, is all you need. That's maybe controversial. I think some people don't like to have to go in and configure item level permissions, but there was a bit of a hint at, is this something we'll see in the near future at a conference very soon? We've got FabCon in Atlanta just around the corner. It's next month. So I am looking forward to hearing what comes out of that. I'm not going to be in Atlanta. It's a bit far for me. But let's wait and see. Welcome to building your BI team in Fabric. Gave up. They're still in Excel. Probably the finance block. Here's your next best action. Here's how we did last week. Because the model will change and no one's going to update it. Hello from the end of MainCon at Fabric February. I have been to so many really brilliant sessions today. I just sat through a really cool Fabric IQ session, which is funny because just not long ago, Ian Pike, which is our architect at Dufresne, was talking to me about Fabric IQ and yeah, this needs to be something we start looking at. And I said, Ian, isn't that just a marketing thing? Doesn't it? What does it do? It's not a thing, right? Yeah, no. And then it was covered in the keynote today. Devang Shah pulled up a Fabric IQ demo where we could see ontology being used. That's a new word for me this week. Did you know that there's already people whose job titles are ontology? It's a thing. It has a very ethereal definition, the philosophy of existence. I love it. I guess in a Fabric context, what does it mean? It is defining the things of which we know and providing more context. So as we all know, if you want to chat with your data, you go Power BI Copilot, and that's great. But if you want to ground that in further reasoning, you can then set up a Fabric data agent. You can provide so much more context with that. That can go even further with Fabric IQ. So you can set up knowledge graphs in which you bind data to things and provide context about what those things are. The way that that can then influence a Fabric data agent experience is really exciting. So there was a demo where we could see two Fabric data agents connecting to the same source essentially, but one directly to a lakehouse and one via an ontology knowledge graph. And that latter one was able to respond essentially with so much more context. The Fabric data agent that went straight to the Lakehouse, you could see the SQL query that it runs, and it's a long, complex SQL query that's having to join across multiple fact tables to gauge the relationships. So Fabric IQ at this point in time, while it might feel like it's kind of on the bleeding edge, and it's maybe more for advanced use cases of Fabric data agents, really exciting to now understand where that fits in the ecosystem. I am just waiting for Georgia and Barani from my team to get out of their last sessions, and then we're going to have a bit of a roundup. So they're going to get put on the spot, and we're going to do a little bit of a how was your Fabric February? So stay tuned. Okay, so we've just finished day one at Fabric February. Georgia, what was your highlight?
My highlight were definitely like the MCP, so I got to talk with Fabric LeBlanc about it and assist to his like presentation. So it was amazing, very informative.
Nice.
Kind of confirmed some of what I was experiencing and feeling.
Yeah.
And I love the way he was like talking to the MCP basically,
Nice.
which is very similar to how I talk about it. And yeah, and after that I went also to Fabric IQ, so I didn't know anything about it before today. With the ontology, so that part was very enlightening, I would say, because it's like completely different. I didn't think much of it before it, and now I feel it's gonna be something very, very important for grounding like the data agents in the future. So we would for certain use certainly use it.
I mean, I thought it was a marketing lens, and I've been like, oh, we don't need to worry about that yet. And actually, ontology, that's our word of the day, to be honest.
The big surprise.
The philosophy of existence. I mean, it's great.
It's great just in itself.
But grounding data agents, you know, and so there's so many layers to this. I'm really excited. But I'm glad you enjoyed. I'm so glad you were here.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, and next up we have Barani. Barani is one of our fantastic Fabric engineers who has been leading so much of our CI/CD patterns. So tell me, what have been your highlights?
Hi, today my highlights are like having the empowerment of AI in the data platform, where we leverage Copilot for automatically creating the pipelines and also playing with the semantic models and reading the data, and also reading the Power BI dashboards using the just prompts.
Yeah.
And also on top of it, also had a session on one lake security, where we got a live demo on planning the roles and how to utilize it for the row level and column level securities, and applying it for the users for the read permission, and how to separate the workspaces for compute and as well as the storage, how it is going to add proper usage for one lake security. And it's cool and so informative. Yeah, it's really good.
Awesome. Thank you. And so that's it. It's a wrap at Dufresne for Fabric February. Today was just brilliant. I just did my first international speaking gig, which is so exciting. We attended our first kind of international gigs as a Microsoft team last year, and this time we were able to deliver a session. So I talked about building your BI team in a Fabric world, the human element of designing a BI team when we're evolving so rapidly in terms of what is being asked of us. People ask me all the time about what skills they need to learn and how they need to shape a team, when often they don't actually know what kind of team they want to be and what they should be tackling. So that's what my session covered. And I'm so glad I went to Benny de Jager's session this morning, which talked about Fabric permissions. Yeah, so much of the stuff that I've been talking about for years, like you have to start at the end and you design your way back. There's no point in saying, oh, we're going to do lake houses and we're going to do event streams, and you don't actually know how people are going to consume it. That is a core principle, and you work your way back from there. Things like using RBAC as a default workspace roles. You don't design your workspaces around workspace roles. Item level permissions needs a lot more attention. I know that's a bit geeky, but that's what it's been for me today. And I just met so many nice people in the data community, lots of friendly faces, and hopefully we will see you next year, Oslo.
So that's also February. That's my second year going to Oslo. And to me, I think that's just the kind of event that I can mark in my diary every year. It's such a slick event. The ladies that organised do such a good job of making everything so seamless. It's such a personable event. I think there's just like a vibe there that is so nice. And it's just hard to create that, I think. So, yeah, they should be really proud of just building off such a nice celebration. And to be able to be a speaker this time as well, to see the whole other side of things, particularly casting conversations. I think what I really liked about doing an event at this time of the year, especially just before FabFeb over makeup, is that there wasn't those big announcements. So when you go to FabFeb in Vienna just a couple months ago, which on this channel is the last blog, there's a lot of announcements, which is great. And so it's a lot of, okay, what's new? We left, well, I want Power BI MCP, right? What does that mean? So then you give it 6 months, and you come to an event like this, and you hear what people are actually doing with those announcements. So the MCP session, I did go, Georgia and my team did, focused on how it's actually working. She managed to then move back and get a bit of a chat with him about what's working and not working, and he gave me some tips. So I'm looking forward to jumping on the call with Georgia when I get back and working out where am I going wrong. There's been some amazing parts of the MCP courses, such as requirement gathering, optimization, especially documentation models. The all goes really slick, but I think sometimes the model builds have been a little bit hairy. There's one specific day I made a big rookie error. I built a little project management type model to track my project burn downs and budgets and whatnot, and I let the MCP optimize it before it actually saved a copy, and it corrupted it. So that was good fun. But again, it's probably to do with the project file. It's probably the PBIP, just working in PBIX and then jumping the MCP on it and asking it to maybe operate in a PBIP format when it's working on a PBIX. I don't know. So that is something that I'm keen to get better at. I think that it is going to revolutionise the way that we operate. Do I see Power BI becoming a code first skill set? I just don't know. It's one of those things that is designed to democratise, designed to be accessible. I think that we will always have a world where people pop into desktop, throw some visuals together. But I think at scale, for those of us who are brought in to companies as experts of the tool and where they're delivered at scale, that will absolutely be the demand. I don't think it'll be viable to scope projects for clients in the next year or two where it is manual builds. It's going to be automated. But as I have said, I think the report side of it is still going to be pretty manual. I think that's a space we'll have to watch over the next year or so. Will we get to a point where we see advances in its front-end capabilities and the ability to develop an advanced UI, very interactive, show hide type functionalities, dynamics? Absolutely. But it's going to take a little bit of time. I just kept a tunnel into this really lovely part of Oslo. So yeah, a much nicer view. It's such a beautiful country. I love getting to visit here. And yeah, my next vlog, I can promise, will be SQL Bits at the end of April. I'm going to be running a panel session with my colleague Ian from Dufresne, along with someone from our Microsoft network and one of our customers from Dufresne. It's going to be really exciting. Our session is Through the Hype, Fabric in the Real World. So we're going to be talking to you about the specific things that are happening with our customers that are either stopping them from moving forward with Fabric or that they're really enjoying. So we're not going to be talking about the demos. We're not going to be talking about the sexy stuff that you'll see at the events. We're talking about the real things, which off the top of my head, CI/CD, having a viable pattern for that is adoptable at scale, working all the elements of that out. One Lake security, it's coming along, but there's still gaps, and that can hold up how quickly we want to get it signed off. This train's getting pretty busy, so I'm going to be a polite foods, and I'm going to leave it here. I will see you guys on the other side.